diversity of natural landscape and the flora and fauna of the northeast region of India is both breathtaking and fascinating. It is a living museum of plant and animal species. With a size just slightly larger than the United Kingdom, it has an astonishing number of 13 designated national parks. The region has a unique altitudinal gradient from alpine mountains to floodplains and sweeping grasslands to rainforests. It is home to the second largest number of bird species on the planet, not to mention the largest number of threatened and endemic species of wildlife in India. In addition to hundreds of thunderous rivulets and streams, the fourth largest river in the world, the Brahmaputra, runs through it, with the elusive Gangetic dolphin popping in and out of its belly. Pristine wetlands dot its landscape, rich in nutrients, offering food for vast flocks of migratory birds which use this region as their flyway. Today, scientists and citizens agree that our region is facing the most daunting challenges ever. We are losing species and destroying habitat faster than ever before, and maybe even reaching a tipping point soon. Meanwhile, global climate change is already showing signs of its impending impact in this region. It was only natural that these overwhelming facts would catalyze the birth of a progressive conservation movement here. It all started with a challenge to preserve a beautiful wildlife sanctuary. The year was 1989. In order to allow commercial fishing in a wildlife sanctuary home to the globally endangered white-winged wood duck was challenged. A small fledgling group of naturalists, the Aaranyak Nature Club, filed a public interest litigation against this order. A landmark case ensued and resulted in the revocation of the order. This stunning victory created headline news. As a consequence of the litigation, no further fishing leases were ever considered for licenses inside national parks or wildlife sanctuaries here. Accolades began to pour in, and finally, Aaranyak Nature Club morphed into something much bigger with more focus and determination. We retained our name, Aaranyak. The name translates to "of the forests."
With our amazing success, we knew that we had to set our house in order and set up achievable objectives with a roadmap for our future. We started off with a few basic ones. The first, of course, was to kickstart a research and conservation agenda in order to study and inventory our biodiversity. The second was to create simple awareness messages among a cross-section of people in general and school children in particular.
Our roadmap was as simple as it was grand: to create an organization based on three primary guiding pillars: science, conservation, and educational outreach. In 2003, in one of our first activities, Aaranyak donated mobile walkie-talkie systems to the Kaziranga National Park on behalf of a rhino research team for a period of 10 years. Numerous environmental educational camps and birding trips were held across the state, some with hundreds of participants, mainly school children. Scientific surveys were conducted and communities were engaged in building roads where there were none. And the list was endless. Kaziranga National Park is one of the single most important sources of tiger populations of northeast India. In 2005, Aaranyak launched one of its flagship initiatives on tiger research. 6 years later, in 2011, we repeated this success story in India's most remote national park, the Namdapha National Park, bordering China and Burma. A Gangetic dolphin is a beautiful, enduring freshwater dolphin species found in the Brahmaputra River and its tributaries. Its population is vulnerable and faces numerous threats. Aaranyak embarked on an ambitious project to study the dolphins throughout the length of the Brahmaputra River by using a state-of-the-art high-tech scientific boat. What emerged was a compendium of valuable data of the visually blind dolphins, the threats they face, and the behavioral characteristics in these waters. Since 2004, we have used remote sensing technology and GIS mapping to create databases of protected areas in this region. Our researchers are mapping routes where rhinos stray out of protected areas using GPS and GIS technologies. In 2008, we launched the exciting field of wildlife genetic research and studies by the establishment of a state-of-the-art molecular biology laboratory capable of undertaking DNA-based research in wildlife. This was a first of sorts, a first in the region and a first at the NGO level in India. In 2012, the first ever genetic census of the greater one-horn rhino in the world was done in the Gorumara National Park of West Bengal.
We have come a long way since the days of our inception in the year 1989. Today, 25 years later, Aaranyak has over 65 employees and is implementing 35 projects under the ambit of 7 major trust areas. Our researchers now work in several states of India and in Southeast Asia. The Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India has recognized us as a scientific and industrial research organization, commonly known as CIRO. We have been in collaborative partnership with numerous institutions of considerable repute, the Smithsonian Institution, the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, the IUCN, and the International Rhino Foundation. These, we believe, are no mean achievement.
Intense competition between humans and elephants for the same natural resources has assumed devastating and tragic proportions. Consequent to this conflict, homes are destroyed and crops are damaged, causing much harm to the village communities. We have embarked on massive forestation projects, engaging forest officials and villagers to team up towards reconnecting forests. This will help restore traditional elephant migration corridors. The objective is to protect the nearby villages to live in safety and security and enable elephants' herds to migrate. Northeast India has the highest primate diversity in India, a total of 11 species out of the 25 known in India. We could not possibly ignore this significant faunal diversity. Since 2002, Aaranyak has conducted numerous studies and imbued training to important stakeholders in this region. As a part of a foundational pillar, teams of our volunteers and staff have spread out to the remotest areas and held countless meetings, audiovisual shows, plays and contests, highlighting the need to preserve our flora and fauna. In the meanwhile, global climate change and water-induced disasters are bringing into question the very future of our growth and development in the lower floodplains of the Brahmaputra river systems. Our climate change team has been studying how riverine communities are adapting to these changes. Aaranyak has been conducting research studies on how rivers in Assam are changing and how vulnerable could this be for the livelihood of our communities. Manas National Park is a unique and fascinating landscape. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, sharing its border with the Royal Manas National Park. Political and civil unrest, coupled with the pressure on its resources by fringe villages, has put the national park in the radar screen of the international conservation community. Aaranyak has engaged 62 fringe villages women's self-help groups in economic and poverty alleviation projects to ease the pressure on the park. As one of the oldest and largest local conservation organizations in the region, we are the pioneers of scientific studies and applied conservation in this biodiversity hotspot.
91 01 43.3.
We intend to partner with smaller local NGOs and other stakeholders to pioneer new methods to preserve what remains in this region. We will continue to support and work with some of the poorest communities of this region to help them benefit by conserving the natural world. Having completed 25 years, we feel that the journey has just begun. We need you to be with us on this journey to protect and preserve our precious heritage. We invite you to join, encourage, and support us.